Okay, so this week's science experiment is going to be a little different, and I'm going to modify it a little bit because, let's face it, this week's lesson is not going to take a month to foresee, but we're going to modify it a little bit. So I have started this science experiment last week on Thursday night. But let's go over what it is. It's the spread of germs. Many people around the world are sick with the coronavirus now. Germs spread from person to person. Germs are very tiny particles that can only be seen with a microscope, and people cannot see where the germs are or how they move from person to person. But some coronavirus germs spread when you're sick. People cough, talk, sneeze, and touch something. The germs can spread when sick people shake hands with healthy people. They can spread when sick people have germs on their hands and touch surfaces and objects. When the healthy people touch those same surfaces and objects, the germs can move to the healthy person, making them sick too. This is why it's important for you kids to learn the healthy habits of washing your hands regularly and promoting healthy habits that can stop the spread of the virus. So for this experiment, the coronavirus spreads from person to person. That's what we know. We know washing our hands with warm water can help stop the spread. Washing hands gets rid of the germs, the dirt, and more. Washing our hands gets rid of the mold and spores too. Mold spores grow because of mold. So we have bread, which my bread, it's about to get moldy probably, to be honest with you. Last piece of this bread. And what we're going to do is the experiment. That says the experiment needs to go for a month, and I'm not doing it for a month. I'm gonna do it for like a week with my old bread. So we have 5 bags, and they have to be labeled. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've labeled them all already. And we're gonna have to have soap. I'm here in my kitchen, so I'm gonna pop in and pop out. So here's the soap. And yes, I have hand sanitizer. Warm water is in my sink. And then my table, which I purposely didn't wash it for a couple days so this would work. So we're going to use the tongs, which, hold on. The tongs. Use the tongs and carefully put 1 slice of bread into the do not touch bag. So I have labeled it. It's going to be backwards for you, but it's right there. I dumped it out on my counter. You can't see that, but so I'm using the tongs and I'm putting it in the do not touch bag. Okay, and then I have 1, so I'm gonna rub my hands on this next slice of bread. So I'm gonna rub my hands on it. My dry hands get all over it, okay? And I'm gonna put this piece of bread into the dirty hands bag. It's backwards, but it's labeled dirty hands. Close it up, dirty hands. And then I'm gonna wash, I'm gonna do the Germ-X one, and then later I'll do the warm soap one so you can kind of So now I'm going to put some hand sanitizer in my hands. Rub it onto my hand, and you're supposed to rub it until it's dry. Okay. I'm going to grab another piece of bread, and then I'm going to have to rub back and forth on the bread slice. This feels really weird. My hands are getting bread all over them. So I'm going to put that in the hand sanitizer bag. Now we're going to take these tongs here. I'm going to rub them over my table, which we're all going to see how dirty my table is. So I'm going to go rub this all over my table, and then I'll put it in from the table bag. So I rubbed it all over the table. I have a 2-year-old. I did it on her spot, so it should be really dirty. And this last piece of bread here, I'm gonna wait a little bit, and then I'm gonna go wash my hands with warm water for 20 seconds with the soap. So I'm gonna pause you guys really quick. I'll be back in a second. All right, so now I'm back. I've done some things around my house to get my hands dirty again. So now I'm going to wash them with warm water. I'm gonna say my ABC. So It says that we're going to touch the bread with our hand. Clean hands. I'm touching the bread with my clean, damp hands. And I'm putting it into touching the bread with my clean hands. And bread is sticking to my hands. It's really gross. And then I'm sticking it in the bag. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands again because it's really gross. You know, I'm getting really sweaty and foamy. Yeah. Okay. Dry my hands off here. Okay. So now that we have them all in our bags, we have the washed hands bread. It's in here. We have the from the table, the 2-year-olds section on the table, the 2-year-olds Bradley section. We'll see how dirty that one is. Gross. This is when I washed my hands with hand sanitizer and rubbed it all over the bread. We'll see what happens. This is just straight up dirty hands. Just how your hands are in general. And this is the piece that we did not touch. This is all my old bread, so we'll see what happens. So it says we have to seal the bag and we have to observe it for a month. That's where I'm going to modify it. We'll observe it what happens in a week because it's old bread. And I'll cut these. You can cut them out if you guys decide to do this experiment at home. I just don't have the printer here. And we'll do some data. So did each slice of bread look the same at the start of our experiment? We're going to put yes. And then we'll answer the rest of them after we've concluded our experiment. We'll have to see what happens. So good evening, good night, and we'll come back and we'll do a recap and see what happens.